What do you do when you miss a big fish on a topwater? Good morning, guys and girls. October 12, we'll be looking at Philippians 4:19. Philippians is a great book of the Bible. If you just live by what Philippians says to do, you'd just be close to sainthood. Philippians 4:19 says, "My God will use His wonderful riches in Christ Jesus to give you everything you need." Now, it doesn't say everything you want. I know that. It doesn't say God will give you everything you want. But it said, my God will use His wonderful riches in Christ Jesus to give you everything you need. Here's what I wrote about that. Rocks and rock piles can be great places to fish, especially if you have a lake that has few rocks in it. Those occasional rocky spots can be really, really hot spots, honey holes. But lakes with rocks and rocky banks and ledges everywhere, they can be tough. Too many rocks. In fact, on lakes like that, I concentrate on non-rocky cover like boat docks and wood. Grass, if I can find it. By the way, a lipless crankbait is a super bait to fish on those rocks. Super bait to fish. There'll always be rocky times in everyone's life. God knows this. We might as well accept it. The key is that God knows exactly what we need to get through these times. And He's promised to supply what we need, even if it's not all that we want. You hear that? He's promised to supply everything we need, even if it's not all we want. Look back at some of the rockiest times in your life and remember how God gave you exactly what you needed to make it across all of those rocks. Isn't that amazing? And one of the things that we really need to do when we start having a little pity party, when we start feeling sorry for ourselves because things are not going right in our lives, and that happens to everybody, just like it says right here. It happens to everybody. It happens to me. It's happened to you. And let me tell you, it'll happen again. I remember my little preacher, Andy Bowman, either been through a rough time, you're in a rough time right now, or you're about to have a rough time. And that's pretty much sums up life. That's just what life's all about. We can make those bad days good days with our attitude. We can take some of the most crushing things in our life and still have a good day. We're still crushed. We're still hurt. We're still broke sometimes. But we can make it good. And we can make it good especially if we'll remember back into some really, really bad times. We can all do that. And we can remember the outcome of that. We can remember how God helped us through it. We can remember how when we thought we was going to lose everything we had, we didn't. We remember back when we thought an illness was going to take us or a member of our family, and it didn't. We can remember back when we were fired, we lost a job, and yet we got a better one. We can remember and think about those kind of things. And that's exactly what this is telling us to do right here. And the reason is because my God, your God, our God, will use His wonderful riches in Christ Jesus to give you and me everything we need. Everything. Here's our tip for today. Have a worm handy. That's right. Have a worm handy to follow up on missed strikes on topwater baits. That's exactly what you want to do. Have something handy there. You can have a jig also. A jig works good on that. I'll tell you something that works really good on a topwater bait is a worm without a weight on it. That way you can throw it in there and it's just sort of sitting there and barely starts falling. And it'll really tempt those bass to jump back on it. Now, a lot of times, depending on the day, you get a little windy day like we got today, might be a little harder to throw a weightless bait in there. But a weightless bait, if it's relatively calm, put that back in where you missed a fish on a topwater. I don't throw a percentage out there, but 8 or 9 times out of 10, you'll catch that fish. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.